All right. Well, we're going to go ahead and get going today. First of all, I want to thank everybody for joining us from our partner community and those who are interested in joining us as well. We're happy to have you with us today. Want to talk a little bit about density today and share some information that would be relative to you all from the partner community. But first, want to take a step back, introduce myself, David Costa. I'm part of the channel organization here at Density, and my counterpart, James Johnston, who will be giving you guys a live demo of our dashboard as well at some point here today. We're going to keep this very high level. There's going to be a Q&A button at the bottom. Feel free to submit your questions there. We're going to be moderating those. And apologize if we don't answer everything off the bat, but we're going to answer as many as we can throughout the session today. And then we'll hold some time at the very end to answer some remaining questions. So getting right into things today, we wanted to talk to you a little bit about who Density is. What is it exactly that we do? Well, we provide the most complete and scalable occupancy management system. We're not a camera. We don't capture or transmit any PII information. We're designed to measure the real-time space occupancy. And we do this with a combination of things. We have a hardware and a license component. It's a piece of hardware and then a very powerful dashboard. With this, we have the modern analytics and infrastructure that allows you to access data anywhere from any device or via an API. If there are three things that we love to say the most, is that we're the most accurate people counting solution out there from an occupancy standpoint. We provide complete anonymity, and we do this in real time, down to 7/100ths of a second accuracy. We like to say, yeah, people counting is hard, right? This is where many organizations have fallen down before us and not being able to provide a solution to the market that was accurate, because people are weird, right? They could be standing underneath a door hinge. They could be traveling in herds. They could be pushing inanimate objects underneath the threshold. This is why Density spent so much time in R&D up front, so we could come to market with the best product out there. What does that look like from the Density perspective, and what do we provide? On the left-hand side, you're going to see the raw data. What this is not a thermal imaging. This is imagine a topographical map. It's a depth sensing laser, an LDAR type technology that when cleaned up, we live in a world of +1s, +2s via the Density's proprietary algorithms. We ignore all of the inanimate objects and the other noise. A lot of business cases, you're asking yourselves, where is this relevant in the market today outside of the obvious relative to COVID, which we're going to touch on later? There are three main business cases. We have many customers today that leverage us from a portfolio optimization standpoint, where they want to look at their entire floor plan footprint, whether it's a single location or a distributed network of buildings, and they want to evaluate how the space is being used and optimize it from the sense of, do we have 5 20-person conference rooms that are only utilized 70% of the time at 60% occupancy? What we really need are more 10-person conference rooms, or relative to break rooms being utilized. Then you have physical security. We have everything from anti-tailgating to very real-time reactive notifications of as you approach max occupancy of a space, or if there may have been a tailgating event that occurred, and you can have those push notifications sent out. And then obviously today, there's the health and safety factor. Everybody's living in a world of adjusted occupancy maximums. So how do you manage that for the visitors or for your employees? But then also, how do you provide those visual cues to let employees or even customers know that it's safe to come into a space? What does this solution look like in the wild? These are a couple pictures here, or a single picture of a couple of sensors mounted over some thresholds. What they do is they sense individuals walking underneath them, and we capture a couple main points of data, very powerful points of data, I might add. We have timestamp, when the event occurred, what that actual event was. Was it an exit or an entrance event? And then where it occurred. These are the data points that are transmitted to the Density Cloud service, You can see there's no PII. We don't know anything about the individual crossing the threshold, just that the event occurred. When we have the ability to capture these data, transmit it to the cloud, we then leverage our Open API platform. These are just a few examples of the third-party systems that Density has the ability to integrate with. Everything from room booking to calendaring to data analytics, workplace management. We even integrate with access control, video surveillance, and even maintenance systems relative to HVAC. If, hey, there's 250 people on this given floor, we need to turn on the air conditioning. So it's a very powerful solution. These are some of the clients that are leveraging us today in a variety of ways. We have single site locations. We have universities leveraging us in cafeterias, in bookstores, in dorm facilities. We've got highly distributed networks relative to retail, all using us in a variety of ways via those main business cases that I spoke to earlier. Now, what is most relevant in today's world, right? COVID, it's a data-driven recovery process of COVID from COVID-19. Prior to COVID, this was what the hierarchy of needs looked like inside of a workplace. At the foundation, it was safety and security for your employees or customers. You want to maintain productivity while providing the most amenities and the best workplace experience possible. Post-COVID, it boils down to one thing. It's health and safety in these main areas. How do you have a renewed focus on your health policies, cleaning practices, physical distancing, anything around testing and contact tracing? What Density did was we took a step back and we looked at the components, the elements of a safe workplace, and the personas that care about these elements. What we found was there's cleaning and operations aspect to a safe workplace environment. You have to maintain the physical distancing and your new occupancy levels. How do you communicate this information out to either your clients or your employees is crucial, and how real time is that? And then how do you do this while monitoring and responding with real time data? And then the final piece was the testing and contact tracing. All of our clients, and most likely all of your clients, care about these 5 main areas. In full transparency, Density plays and has solutions that can address the business needs in these 4 main areas. We do not do anything in testing and contact tracing. So what is the solution today that is driving a high demand from Density? It's safe display from Density. What does this boil down to in a nutshell is we take the powerful information that we have and we provide very easy to digest visual cues to either your employees or your customers coming in. Imagine your employee walking into this New York headquarters office and your plan was to work on the 2nd floor for that day. Well, you could look at the board and see that it's at 100% occupancy. So you can make the smart decision if you want to work on either the 1st or 2nd floor. You don't have to go through the doorway and find that out after you've already entered that environment. So we're empowering people to make decisions about their visits of retail outlets, of places of business, or their workplace via real-time alerts, leveraging the deep analytics that we capture across not just a single location, but your entire portfolio. What are some of the most popular ways clients are deploying Safe Display by Density today? Outside of break rooms. You'll see there's a 1-minute wait time based off of the real-time analytics and the data that we have on dwell times. We can tell you about how long until that's going to be less than 100% full. You can see in the bottom left-hand side there, imagine needing to go floor to floor inside of your building. And you're looking at the chart there from a predictive analytics standpoint, and you want to get up there before the peak time because you have to have a meeting with sales or marketing. The bottom right-hand side is client facing. So to the public, how do places of business let their customers know that it's safe to come in or how long it might be, and allow them to make a smart decision to either wait the 1 minute or come back later in the day. And one of the most popular conversations we're having around deployment of the solution is relative to restrooms. This drives a couple of things. One of them being you don't know what's behind that solid door. Is there a line of people waiting to use the facilities, or is it clear to go in? The other is from a cleaning aspect. We have the ability to track the number of visitors. So that would be the total cumulative people count going in, visits, and then you can send push notifications to facilities after X number of people that maybe they need to go restock and sanitize that bathroom. Which brings us right here to some additional push notifications. The cleaning working for conference rooms. We have many clients using this today, but it's also relative in reverse to where we're driving hard cost savings. If a meeting room is not used or a restroom has not been used, you don't have to spend the money on sending a crew in there to clean that meeting room or that restroom and sanitize it. And then what everybody cares about today, I'm in the greater Chicago area, businesses are getting fined left and right for being over their new capacity limits. So we have the ability to do push notifications to a variety of either administrators, managers of that building or that retail location, to their custom max occupancy, not just when they hit it, but as they approach it and at different clips. Safe alerts. So this is one way. We've got a variety of ways to push these alerts out and provide information. It can be SMS, email, push notifications on counts across your entire floor, your entire portfolio, all pushed out via our deep analytics and reporting capabilities. You'll also note in here, a core functionality of Density is our ability to evaluate the space, how it's being used, and tell you if you have the ability to drive cost savings from underutilized space. What I would like to do now is actually hand this over to my counterpart, James, and let him go into a live demo of the dashboard. And then we'll take you through our partner portal, and we hope you're enjoying your time.
Great, thanks, David. All right, going into our partner portal makes up 5 key sections. We have our spaces, our analytics, dashboards, live, and safe display. I'm going to take us into safe display first, where we can go in and we can design the visuals that we want to share, whether it be on a tablet, on a monitor, on a TV, etc. We can set up our individual spaces and share as much or as little information as we want to on those individual displays. So a couple of examples that we have set up here, if we wanted a green or red screen, green for go, red for wait, we can display what the wait times are, how many occupants are here. On the right-hand side is customizable. You can brand it with your own company logo. You can put a custom message to your guest or to your employees in here, as well as additional contact information. Depending on the type of display that you're using, if you're using like an ink tablet, so to speak, you can go into monochrome. Do you want black and white screens? Do you want to display in the lobby like we saw in the example earlier? If you're heading into the lobby, what does it look like on multiple floors? Is it floor 2? Is it floor 3, etc.? You can display what that information is displaying on those individual floors. Or if you're on a single floor and you have your neighborhood set up for sales, engineering, marketing, you have your cafeteria, etc., that information can be displayed here on the right-hand side. So taking a look at the dashboard itself, coming back into it here, we can take a look at the spaces. So we can see that we have our Ames headquarters set up. We have multiple floors. On our second floor, we have our multiple rooms. This is going to be your tree or your hierarchy of structure for the spaces as part of your portfolio. So if you have one building or if you have 50 buildings across your portfolio, you will see everything set up here. Running across the top of your screen, we're going to have your legal capacity. So how many people can you have in here based on your fire marshal, your regulations, versus if you're operating at a 30% capacity or 50% capacity because of COVID, you can go in and change your target capacity. So we can have that information displayed here very quickly for an administrator or for anyone who is viewing the information. In addition to that, you can put in your square footage, your monthly or your annual rent rather. You can display that information here, which will pull into your analytics as well as into your dashboards. Moving across your screen to the right-hand side is the alert functionality that David had showed us. We can go in here and we can add in a phone number. We can go in and set it up to say, great, I want to take a look at the space. Do I need to be notified if we're operating at a 50% capacity? Maybe I need to set my new number to say, great, I need to be notified as soon as we hit 300 employees in here. What does that look like? Do I want to receive a one-time notification? Do I want to go in here and take a look and say, great, I want to save that information after I've put in my mobile number? Save the details. You're going to have your instant alerts that will come as a text message. We can also set this up through the mobile application to have a push notification. So lots of great details when it comes to adding in your alerts. Throughout the remaining part of your screen here, you have your entire 24-hour cycle. If you have operating or business hours, shift work, etc. set up, you can have different hours displayed here, so you can drill into the data to say, great, I want to look at the details from Monday to Friday between 8 and 5 p.m. Going down your screen is quick analytics. We have your entrances by hour. We can take a look at the occupancy of your spaces as well as the raw data. So when we're taking a look at those timestamps, the doorways, what events, and then the count of people who have entered and exited those individual spaces. On the right-hand side of your screen will always display your live events. So when we're taking a look at the first floor of our Ames headquarters, we can see that we have 116, now 118 people on this floor. We can see the numbers as they stream across the screen in real time, indicating that we may have multiple doors. We've just had 4 people enter here. The gray dots are indications that people have exited. And then more information down here as it relates to your daily occupancy, which doorways are set up, your operating hours, and then as David had showed us, our room booking details. So if you have Robin Condeco, Outlook, etc. set up, that information will pull in here. As part of our dashboard, we offer analytics. This is where you can go in and basically slice and dice your data how you want to view it. So if we wanted to go in and I want to take a look at the office summary here, I can take a look at the occupancy. I want to see what is the capacity of the individual floors. What were we at peak occupancy levels? What is the average occupancy at the different floors, or even within the floors if we wanted to take a look at neighborhoods for marketing. So I could see what is the capacity, what is the peak capacity, etc. Within the platform itself, we can look at the occupancy levels, utilization, available capacity, your entrances and exits. You can drill into your information based on the functionality that you've set up. So do we want to look at our conference rooms versus meeting rooms versus cafeterias or cafes? So we can drill into that information and display it visually here on our screen by making the updates. You also have your date ranges. So do you want to look at this information based on today, the last month, the last 90 days, etc. So as long as you're a density customer, your information will be within the platform. So if you've been here for 3 years, you can go back and look at 3 years worth of data. Within the system as well as dashboards. This is great if you have multiple teams who need to look at information, but not necessarily have them log into the platform. You can create an executive summary, and you can then establish and set up your email digest. That way you can have a very nice email report, email to executives every Monday morning based on building performance or based on space optimization, etc. All of these reports can roll up and send basically show up as an email for them. Within the reports themselves, we can dive in, and we're just going to look at building performance for a moment. We can take a look at capacity reports, hourly breakdown, square feet per person. We can do floor by floor analytics as well, or even building comparisons within here. As part of the dashboard structure, there's approximately 30 reports within here that we can dive in and take a look at your peaks. Do we want to take a look at multiple spaces, your daily visits, if you went over capacity, A lot of clients love next week forecasting. So once density has been installed for a number of weeks, we can go through predictive analytics and take a look at how many people can you expect to be in your space on a Monday versus on a Thursday. We can dive into your hourly breakdowns, your booking behaviors, your meeting sizes, lots of information in here that we can dive into, and we're happy to go into that in more detail here in the near future. The last part of the density platform is live. So every single space that's part of your portfolio will live in here as well. You can come in and take a very high level look and say, great, I want to take a look at our Market Street location. I can see that we have 85 people in this space versus our Pacific Avenue location has 82. If I wanted to drill in and take a quick look at individual floors, or if I wanted to take a look at meeting rooms on those floors, I would visually be able to go in and see what that real-time count is. And that is everything that I wanted to show within the dashboard. David, do we want to open it up for Q&A? Or do we want to jump into the partner portal?
Yeah, let's jump over into the partner portal, James, and then we're answering some questions here in the chat, and there's a couple of great ones that we'll take live.
Perfect. So jumping into our partner portal, if you have not received your access to this partner portal, please follow up after our session. We'll make sure that we have you registered and accessed here. So within our partner portal, we have a few key tabs that we want to make sure every single partner is aware of, starting with registering a deal. This is the opportunity for anything that you want to bring to density for, support. You want us to do co-selling, you want to do deal protection, etc. Make sure you come into the deal registration, input the customer information as the first part here. Second part of it is going to be an estimate as to the number of sensors in your project timeline, and then your contact information. That way we can tie this back to your organization as well. It helps us align to our sales organization so they can come in and they can reach out directly to you to offer their assistance. Maybe you want us to present on your behalf for density. You need help with floor plans, scoping, etc. We want to be here to support you as a partner, so it's imperative that this information is filled out so we can align to our teams accordingly. In addition to deal registration, we have marketing information. We can do the safe display details up front. We have brochures. We have presentations in here for you to use. Various logos. So if you wanted to add it to your own marketing material, part of your website build out. We have product shots, environmental stills. We have application screenshots. So if you need to share what does it look like on a mobile phone versus on the desktop, that information is here for you to use as well. We have our installation guides. So anyone who is going to install density, so any of our installers out here on the call, this is your resource as well to come in and take a look at your complete installation guide. We have quick start guides. We have the setup apps, the networking and power requirements. So all that information lives within the installation tab here. And then the last part of it is going to be pricing. So any deal opportunities that density brings to you, we're going to unlock various discount levels here. So a 20% discount off your hardware, 10% off your software. Any deals that you register up here as part of the deal registration process, you're going to receive a 30% discount on your hardware and 20% off your software. David, was there anything else that you'd like to add here?
No, I think that covered it greatly, James. Thank you. Thank you. We do have a couple questions. If you won't mind, let's go through these here real quick. Sure. With a lot of companies promoting work from home, what type of facility will your solution be most beneficial? James, what have we seen in the market today?
So with working from home, and then when we're looking at return to work, and this can be later this fall or even beginning of next year, companies will want to understand how the restrooms is going to be a big use case. How are those restrooms going to be used? How often do they require cleaning? We're also going to be working with organizations to say, now that we're enforcing, work from home, and more of our employees will be working from home for, 2021 and maybe beyond, do we need to look at optimization of our office? Do we need to shrink our footprint? Do we need to give up an individual floor and have more desk hoteling for teams to, share those spaces when they return, next winter, as an example?
Great. Thank you, Rich, for the question. Thank you, James. Two types of installs, PoE and wireless. What are the advantages of each?
In terms of, I want to say the majority of our installs are going to be PoE plus. That way you have both your power and your Ethernet, or your hardwired connection that way. Your options with Wi-Fi is, if you cannot get a PoE cable run to that location, you connect via Wi-Fi. You do need a standard electrical outlet. So it really comes down to personal preference. Most clients will run that network wire and then have it connected to a switch.
Great. Thank you, Steve, for the question. Harold's asking, would you please talk about the device, how the devices communicate with each other and with the console?
So our sensors are cloud-based, so the information will flow from each individual sensor, taking you back into the dashboard here. So each individual sensor is set up, so when we're looking at the rooms here and we want to expand and we want to see the individual doorways, these sensors are talking to the platform itself, which will then, behind the scenes, the analytics rolls up, and then we can identify to say, okay, here at the Ames headquarters, we have, 1,200 employees. So looking at it live, we have 853 employees that are in the building. If we were to drill into it and take a look at all the sensors that make up the first floor for those main doors, there's 81 people on the first floor, versus drilling into all the sensors that are on the second floor. As they all roll up into one, we can look at the individual count at 165.
Great. Thank you, James. Peter asks, can a density sensor handle lots of people, like in a train station or a venue entrance? Peter, the answer there is absolutely yes, it can. It's not necessarily about the number of people that are going to be crossing underneath the threshold. It's the deployment environment itself. So we want to look at that environment, ensure that the correct thresholds were accounted for to provide the most accurate count based off of their desired needs and solutions from an end user standpoint. Can you explain the enterprise license? Can I, for example, have multiple buildings on one enterprise? Can I have multiple hotels under one enterprise? That's from Dens. Dens, thank you for the question. The answer is that's a 1-to-1 ratio. So every density sensor requires a license. That license has no hidden fees in it whatsoever. That provides the technical support. That provides every feature, every functionality we come out for inside of that product line, which I can tell you is quite frequent. So what you're essentially getting is a product that is going to get better with time. Hope that answered your question there. If not, feel free to send us an email afterwards, and happy to have a conversation. Is density working with local government organizations like the City of Chicago, the Board of Education, recreational parks, etc.? So we are working with multiple government organizations. So we are certified for Fed DoD. And one other important note is we are GDPR compliant because we do not capture any PII, right? So no personal identifiable information. We're once again, Jermaine, thank you for that question. We're happy to sync up with you more. Specifically interested, since I'm in the greater Chicago area, and I'd love to talk to you. From an anonymous attendee here, what is the FOV so that we can show the coverage in AutoCAD? Oh, the field of view. I believe is what they're asking, James.
Yep, it's 4 feet. So from if we go back to an image here in the presentation, I'll just reshare my screen here. It's 4 feet out is what we see. So when we're looking at the lines here, then projecting out from that point in time will be a maximum of 4 feet that we can see. If there is a need for us to make modifications to that, we can certainly look at that to shrink the space, but we cannot exceed 4 feet.
Great. Well, I believe that was all the questions that we have. We thank everybody for the time today. And once again, please reach out to the partnership team. Go to the partner portal, create your account there. We have a ton of great information in there. It is the fastest way to get in touch, get aligned with our density AEs that can help you position and sell the product alongside you from an educational standpoint. So we look forward to working with everybody, and we hope you have a wonderful day.